The oldest known celebration commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S. is officially a federal holiday. Juneteenth marks what happened on June 19, 1865, when Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, and informed enslaved people in Texas that they were free. Now, that decree came 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. It would take another 6 months before the 13th Amendment was ratified, abolishing slavery in the final 4 border states that had not been subjected to President Lincoln's order. Now, as President Biden signed the bill making Juneteenth an official federal holiday yesterday, he called it one of the greatest honors of his presidency, and he made the case for action on his broader civil rights agenda.
Juneteenth represents not only the commemoration of the end of slavery in America more than 150 years ago, but the ongoing work to have to bring true equity and racial justice into American society, which we can do. In short, this day doesn't just celebrate the past. It calls for action today.
With me here in Washington is NBC correspondent Trymaine Lee, and also with us is Eddie Glaude. He's chair of the Department of African American Studies at Princeton University, and he's, of course, an MSNBC contributor. It's great to see you both. So, Trymaine, this is the first new federal holiday since MLK Day some 40 years ago. Tell us about the significance and about the people who are responsible for it, including Miss Opal Lee, 94-year-old activist.
You know, Jeff, this is a really big deal because, as we know, America has been reluctant to address its past and tell the full breadth of the experience in America, not the least of which is the Black American experience. But while many folks are frustrated that you can't get an anti-lynching bill passed, can't get major police reform passed, they got Juneteenth passed, which is great. But there have been folks all across this country for generations fighting for acknowledgement, fighting for America to recognize the greatest ideals of freedom captured in Juneteenth. And there's one woman they call the grandmother of Juneteenth, Miss Opal Lee, 94 years old. I had a chance to speak with her last year. She's been marching and fighting for so long, and for her to be there at the signing of Juneteenth becoming a national holiday was tremendous. Let's take a listen.
I'm not one of those people who are sitting in a rocking chair thinking the Lord's going to come get me. He going to have to catch me because there's so much that needs to be done and so many people who simply don't know what can be done. And I can see that aha moment on their face. I'm just delighted. And I'll just keep on talking and keep on working with people until we get it right. Or until I'm called home.
That is one of my favorite pieces of sound right there. You're going to catch me. Just the fight in her blood, as so many of our people have fought so hard to be acknowledged and represented. And I know she's just overjoyed.
I mean, it was really something to watch her eyes light up yesterday in the East Room, realizing that the work that she had committed herself to for these last few decades had finally been realized. Professor Glaude, I want to ask you something, and I have to say that our producer, Sharice James, she went looking through the National Archives for the order that the Union General presented to the folks in Galveston more than 150 years ago tomorrow. And I'm so glad that she did, because I read it, and part of it stopped me in my tracks. I want to read part of it to you. And it says this: the freedmen are advised, this was after the language in this order that said that the slaves are now free. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work, and that they will not be supported in idleness. So this was freedom with a caveat. Give us a sense of how this resonates with you. I heard you say yesterday on one of our broadcasts that for you, Juneteenth is really an example of our democracy not being fully complete.
Right. So within that order, Jeff, is this really interesting tension, because the sentence before that talks about this involves the absolute equality of personal rights and the rights of property between former masters and slaves. And then the qualifications follow. So what we see immediately is that the claim about absolute equality had not yet settled into common sense, and still today has not been widely accepted by some segments of the society. So what we see in that little moment, right, are the hints of what will then justify, right, peonage, what will then become sharecropping, what will then become a form of convict leasing, right? So we see already that there is, within the General Order number 3, right? This effort to continue to conscript black labor in order to build and produce a surplus value for the South. So the contradictions are actually evidenced in General Order Number 3. But nevertheless, we still celebrate it. We still celebrated the resilience of a people. We still put before us, within the context of Juneteenth, we still asserted the dignity and standing of black people, and we reveled in the dignity and humanity of all people. That's why it's America's holiday today.
And look, you can fast forward to the present day and talk about, and nevertheless, we still celebrate. It's okay to hold those two thoughts, that on the one hand, it's great that there is now a federally recognized Juneteenth. And on the other hand, it's not great that Juneteenth also doesn't stop the systematic disenfranchising of people when they try to vote. It also doesn't stop a police officer from shooting and killing another black man and potentially getting away with it.
You're absolutely right. See, at the heart of Juneteenth is this: delayed freedom, the time lag. The time lag between January 1st, 1863, Emancipation Proclamation, and June 19th, 1865. That time lag foreshadows the delay in justice with regards to race matters in this country. And to this day, we have 48 states entertaining over close to 400 pieces of legislation aimed to disenfranchise folk. We see over and over again systemic racism defining outcomes affecting the distribution of advantage and disadvantage. We have yet to commit ourselves as a nation to absolute equality between former masters and former slaves. We have yet to commit ourselves to that. And confronting that fact actually opens the door for us to imagine ourselves otherwise. That's the key. It gives us the possibility to think of America differently.
And Jermaine, I understand for your podcast, you've been talking with activists about what they want to see on President Biden's agenda. I mean, to his credit, he said in the East Room yesterday, Juneteenth is a day of reflection, it's a day of celebration, but it's also a day of action.
Yeah, you know, I hear Eddie talk about the lag. That lag has been insulting for so many of us as black Americans, certainly. But it also speaks to the idea that there is a fullness of America and its freedom and its democracy that we have yet to have full access to. And talking to activists here on the ground in D.C., hundreds of thousands of black people who do not have full access to the franchise because they do not have a voting member in Congress. And so there are many people who see this kind of tandem fight for liberation. On one hand, full representation with taxation, right, in Congress, but also that effort to, again, get closer to full black liberation. Those things are combined.
Jermaine Lee.
My man.
Good to see you, man.
Likewise.
Always, always. Absolutely. And Professor Eddie Glaude, of course, appreciate your time as always to the both of you.